watching Gearz, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day.
Hey, welcome to Gearz. You know, a few weeks ago, we rolled in a square-bodied Chevy truck and started a project called the Stunt Double, which is basically going to be a modern version of the old Fall Guy truck from the 80s TV show. Now, you might be wondering, why would we pick a 70s or 80s truck as a project vehicle as opposed to something newer? Well, first of all, they're cool. Second of all, we wanted to show the incredible potential of the 73 through 88 square body trucks, because it doesn't matter if you're into long beds, short beds, 4x4s, two-wheel drives, these trucks are still out there and they're still affordable for now. And there is a ton of aftermarket parts available for them. Also, they still had the solid axle in the front with the 4x4s, which is a great deal if you're into hardcore off-roading. And finally, most of us still kind of wish we were a stuntman secretly, and these trucks are tough enough to let you drive like that. So we picked up this 86 4x4 long bed and we dug into the interior to start the transformation. Now, as you can see, once we got the old seat and the carpet and the sound deadening out of the way, we found that our floors were extremely solid. We just had a little bit of surface rust right here on the floor pans on each side, but nothing serious, just surface rust. So we hit it with a coat of POR 15 to seal up the metal and stop that rust in its tracks. Now that it's dry, we're ready to put in our new sound deadener and fit the carpet. The sound deadening just lays in place, but it will require some trimming around the shifter. The carpet will require trimming too, and it's best to use the old carpet as a pattern to get you in the ballpark. Then once you get the carpet in place, you can do the final trimming for a perfect fit. Now, one thing that usually makes people kind of freak out when they're fitting a carpet is all the wrinkles that are in it right out of the box, and that's just going to happen, but they will come out. Now, it's a good idea to put the carpet out in the sun, get it nice and warm, and then lay it into the floor and fit it into the floor pan. Most of those wrinkles will work right out. Now, some of the stubborn ones, you might have to work on them a little bit or use a heat gun to speed it up. Just make sure if you do this that you don't melt the carpet. Now, once you have everything fit, you can trim the sides and then you can fit your sill plates. All right, the doors are next. And since this is a high wear area, they are gonna need some attention. Now, before you just restore them back original, take some time to think this through, because LMC's got all kinds of options here. Let me show you what I'm talking about. The first part is pretty straightforward, and that is weather stripping. Now, you can buy weather stripping a piece at a time, but if your truck's this old, you need all new weather stripping. So it's better just to get a master kit so you got nice, soft, supple weather stripping everywhere, and you don't forget to get a piece. Now, if you're going to paint your truck like we are, don't put your weather stripping on yet. Paint the truck, then put your new weather stripping on. Now, the guts of the door is where you got some options. Obviously, we have manual windows on this truck, and you can get new rollers if those are shot, but you can also upgrade to OEM-style power window units, and you've got the wiring harnesses, the factory switches, all the cool stuff, and you've got interior and exterior door latches, you've got all the hardware, so you can completely rebuild your door. The door panel is also where you have some options. Now, this is a new door panel that LMC is carrying, and this is a fiberglass panel. It's designed to completely cover your door with a more modern, up-to-date style. Now, as you can see, it's got the door pulls built right in. You've got the pocket here for the factory latch, and it's all already covered with black vinyl. And you can take some color bond vinyl paint, you can color match this to whatever color your interior is. There's a lot of options here. Now, if you like the original style, those are still available and all the hardware to go with that. So whichever way you go, they all go on the same way. Check it out. First, we'll peel off all the old door panels and hardware, making sure to check for rust or damage, because now is the time to fix that. First, remove the old glass, followed by the old worn-out regulator. Now, this is also a good time to replace the vent window if it's broken or rusty, and we got a brand new assembly from LMC Truck. Next, we'll install the new window regulator. Then reinstall the glass. And finally, bolt on the new latch. Now we're ready for the door panel, and all you have to do is fit it to the door and drill the proper holes to mount it at the bottom. Hey, welcome back to Gearz, where we are in the process of upgrading the interior on this '86 Chevy truck. Now, so far, we've rust-proofed the floors and put in new carpet and sound deadening. Now we're in the process of upgrading the doors and fitting custom door panels. Come on. Once you have the panel fitting right and looking good, now you can modify it by putting on door locks or switches or color matching it to your interior, whatever you want to do. For example, we're going to start by removing the inserts from our panels and then drill some holes to mount the factory stainless trim. Okay, next we are going to clean the vinyl and get it ready for paint. And for a cleaner, we're using this TSP that you can get at your hardware store because it does a great job of cleaning vinyl and plastic of any oils or residue that'll keep the paint from sticking properly. Now, once you have it clean, don't just reach for whatever paint's on the shelf. You need to spend some extra bucks and get a real vinyl and plastic paint like this color bond stuff. That's what the OEMs use to change colors because it bonds at a molecular level and it won't chip or come off. So if you want your paint to be permanent, that's what you got to use. Once the paint's dry, we'll reassemble the panel. Now, that is a good-looking panel. Now, they looked good before, and I know you thought we messed it up by taking it apart and painting it, but hopefully this gives you an idea what taking a few minutes and customizing your panels can do. Now you got something that's totally unique. It's going to match the colors you're doing on your interior perfectly, and no one else is going to have anything like it. That's what you want. Now we just got to put them in. Finally, install the panel on the door and put on the hardware. Now, you can reuse your original window rollers, but these billet aluminum ones will add a really cool touch to the door panel. Now you can see just how nicely these door panels match the carpet. Once we get the black dash in here, it's going to tie it all together. It's just too bad there's not a seat that matches, right? Well, there might be. Let's take a look. This is the seat that LMC offers to match those cool door panels. Now, you can get this two different ways. You can get it as a full bench seat like this, or you can get it as two bucket seats with a center console. And for the Stunt Double project, we're going with the full bench because we want room for that third person right here in the center. Now, you can see it's got the same vinyl upholstery, the same white stitching, the same design as those door panels, and it has two fully adjustable backs, so this is a really nice seat. That's the good news. The even better news is you can get a mounting bracket to mount that seat into any 73 through 87 GM truck. And when you add these new adjustable sliders, you're going to have a seat that's going to sit at the same height and at the same pitch as the original seat, just a lot cooler. This is how to put it in. First, we'll bolt the sliders to the seat and install the crossover wire. Then we'll bolt the mounting bracket to the sliders. Finally, with the seat adjusted as far forward as possible, we'll install the seat and put in the rear bolts. Then we'll adjust the seat back and install the front bolts, and that's all there is to it. As far as modifications, it doesn't get much simpler than this. And that seat makes all the difference in the world. This is starting to look like a completely different truck. Hey, welcome back to our interior rehash of this old '86 Chevy truck. Now, as you can see by this pile of junk on the floor, we've made a lot of big changes to this thing. We've got carpeting, we've got door panels, we've got seats. That's all major stuff. But to pull off a true interior upgrade, you can't overlook the little stuff, because that's what ties it all together. So that's what we're going to do now, tie it all together. Now, a prime example of that is all of this original burgundy trim, the dash, the sun visors, the headliner, all of that's got to go. Because the two new colors we've got going in here now are black and tan. Now, the dash is going to be black, which means all this needs to be tan. Now, if your pieces are broken, obviously replace them. But if they're not, no reason to replace them. Just take them out, clean them up, and paint them. Okay, while the trim is drying, we're going to deal with this original dash. Now, obviously, this old dash, this thing is shot. And most of these original gauges, yeah, those quit working a long time ago. But if you remember right, a few weeks ago, we laid out a new dash and a new gauge cluster filled with modern high-performance gauges. And that's all sitting right over there. So all we have to do is get this old junk out of the way, put the new stuff in. Now, our new dash is a direct fit, factory style replacement dash, not just a cheap cover. And it comes in black, but you can paint it whatever color you want. Obviously, we're keeping ours black. Now, when you go to replace a dash, it's a good idea to replace all of the grills, all of the vents, all of the hardware, all the clips, because chances are they're shot. If not, they're going to break when they come off. Also, you can pretty much figure that any speakers that are in your dash are shot. So now is the time to replace those too. Once it's all together, slide the new dash in place, followed by the new bezel and gauges. All right, with the dash and gauges taken care of, now we're ready for our trim. But before we put that in, we need to address the headliner. And LMC's got some options here for you. You can go back with an original style headliner, or you can go with something custom like this. Now, as you can see, there's a lot going on here. You've got a spot here to mount a stereo system or a CD player or a CB radio. You got the light built in, and you have 4 speakers built in pointing right at the heads of the passengers, making this a great sound upgrade for a pickup truck. Now, obviously, this comes molded in black, but it is very easy to custom paint it or upholster it to match your interior perfectly. The best part is, this is designed to fit right in place of that stock headliner. Now, step back and take a look at this. We have completely transformed this interior. We've changed the color, the style, and it's something that pretty much anybody can do over the course of a weekend. Now, hopefully, this gives you plenty of reasons to get out and get busy on a stunt double project of your own. But if you still need a little bit of persuading, the next time you see this truck, we're going to be focusing on the stunt part of it. Yeah, you don't want to miss that.
Tool Tech, brought to you by Cornwell Tools, the choice of professionals.
If you're into building or restoring an old car or truck, you got to know that eventually you're going to have to deal with replacing a body panel based on rust or damage. And since most body panels are held in place with spot welds, well, you're going to have to come up with some way to cut the upper panel and release the spot weld without damaging the panel down below it. That's where a spot weld cutter comes in. Check it out. Most spot weld cutters look like a tiny hole saw with a spring-loaded center pin to hold the cutter in place when you start cutting. To use the cutter, select the size that spans the size of the spot weld, center punch or indent the center of the weld, and then go to work with the cutter. The idea is to stop once you see the top panel pop loose. This leaves a solid lower panel with just a little remnant of the old weld in the center. Then, once the panel is removed, take a grinder and knock down the old welds. This will leave the panel nice and smooth and ready for you to weld on the replacement panel. Now, I know you're thinking, it's such a simple tool. Do I really need these? Won't a drill work? No, believe me, if you're going to do any panel replacement, you need some spot weld cutters. It will make a project like this go much quicker, much simpler, much easier. Keep your drills for drilling holes. If you're going to replace panels, you need a spot weld cutter.
Now, quick tip. Brought to you by E3 Spark Plugs. Born to burn.
You know, one of the first modifications that most people do to a vehicle is swap in some new seats, whether they're out of a junkyard or a used vehicle or brand new from the aftermarket. The problem is, very rarely do these seats come with the proper mounting brackets to fit in your specific vehicle. So what do? Well, you have no choice but to modify your original hardware and seat adjusters to fit your new seats. Here's how to do it. You'll need to start by taking accurate measurements on the old seat and brackets. This way you can position these original brackets on the new seat so the new seat will fit the mounting holes in the floor properly. Next, build a brace or plate that will bolt to the new seat frame and will be strong enough to support the original seat brackets. Then fit the original slider brackets to the plate using the original measurements for width and spacing. If the seat bottom needs to lean forward or back to fit the floor pan, a simple spacer between the seat and the slider will allow you to dial that in so the new seat will fit just like the old one did. And that is it. Now all you have to do is clean everything up and paint it, and your replacement seat should bolt right into your project and fit perfectly, provided your measurements were right. If you'd like to learn more tips to make your life easier in the shop, check out the tips page on the website.
What are you working on? Brought to you by Woodward Fabrication, selling quality metalworking equipment since 1966.
Today's What Are You Working On comes from John Kokena from Port Lavaca, Texas, and his project is a '64 Corvette. Yeah, we don't get a lot of those. Now this car has a really unique story here. He said it started out as a gift to his mom from his dad. And then he said, of course, life takes its roads, and his parents ended up getting divorced, and the dad ended up with the car. There's a whole nother story there. And he said he remembers as a 6-year-old kid, when Dad showed up in that car, it was awesome to know that he was in the coolest car in the neighborhood. Check out this picture. Him and his older brother and the dad, man, those are some happy guys. Especially when you check out the Volkswagen bus in the background, which is probably what they showed up in. Yeah, a Corvette looks pretty cool to that. Now, he said that over the years, he always wished this car was his, and he watched it deteriorate in his dad's garage for many, many years. And then one day, 7 years ago, his dad gave him the car. And he says he hates to admit it, but for a few years, it sat in his garage. But then he finally started working on it, and he was hooked. He said the first thing he did, check this out. He stripped out the suspension, pulled the body off the frame, and started working. Now, he sanded and painted the frame, and then he rebuilt the suspension with tubular control arms, QA1 adjustable coilover shocks, Willwood disc brakes, stainless steel fuel and brake lines, all the good stuff. Now, he says the engine was a small block 400, and he punched that thing out 408 cubic inches, put on aluminum heads, put on a 750 double pumper and a hot cam, and then behind that goes the original Muncie 4-speed. It's going to be a hot car. Now, he said finally he started sanding on the car and sanded and sanded and sanded. And finally, he says after 7 years of work, the car finally went out the door to the paint shop. And he said he's all nervous waiting for this thing to come back. But he said the plan for the car is to be able to enjoy it with his dad while he still can. He says sometimes it feels like the project is sitting still because it takes so long. Well, John, sometimes it does that, but man, it's going to be so worth it when you get that car back. So to recognize such an awesome project, we hooked up with our buddies at Woodward Fab. We're going to give you one of these bench vices because you always need a big vise. Also, we're going to give you one of our project planning books because you definitely need this to keep track of your project and keep you on track, especially now that you're coming into the final assembly. Now, we're also going to give you one of our Gearz t-shirts because you're obviously a gearhead, and then we're going to end up giving you an O'Reilly gift card so you can save a little money when you go to O'Reilly. Now, the rest of you guys, if you want to get in on this, get your project featured on the show, go to our website, go to Gearz Nation, and submit it into What Are You Working On. The website's also the place to find out more information on any products you may have seen on the show, any Gearz merchandise, and how to join Gearz Nation so you can stream any of our episodes commercial-free. Finally, don't forget to like us on Facebook so you can get some behind-the-scenes footage of our weekly web series, Shifting Gears. All right, that wraps it up for us today. Obviously, John has got a Corvette to work on. I've got the Stunt Double to work on, which means it's the perfect time for you to get out there, find something cool, and start working on it. Get out of here. We'll see you next time.